and welcome back to Girl Talk. I am so excited because I've got a triple threat with me today, people. Yes, you may have seen her, on Nickelodeon, on Amazon, and most recently on your current role in Fox drama series, Lethal Weapon. And coming very, very soon, you will see her kind of entering a different world.
Yeah.
Filled with zombies in Disney Channel's original movie, Zombies 2, which of course is a sequel to Zombies 1. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, exactly. And that's coming out actually Friday.
Yeah.
February 14th on Valentine's Day. The one, the only, Chandler Kinney, who's with us today. Yes. Girl,
you.
exciting.
Hi.
So this isn't our first time meeting. We actually just did the Zombies 2 press junket together.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
And I knew I liked you because I knew the girl could talk. And I was like, get on the podcast.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I love to talk. It's my favorite pastime.
Do you ever feel, because it's funny, those junkets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that don't know what a junket is, just go watch our Zombies 2 junket.
Yeah, just
And you'll see.
You'll see.
But you have very limited time together.
yeah.
Maybe 5-ish minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like, hi, we just met. Please tell me everything.
Tell me everything
that
about
I need
you.
to know.
I'm like, okay.
So how is it for you? I'm curious on that side. Because I can
Yeah.
just go by my questions, but for you to give your full answer in such a limited time frame to someone, that you don't even know, me, by the way, at that moment, what is that like on that end?
Well, I think junkets are really fun. One of my favorite things to do is just like go on YouTube and like watch all my favorite actors doing all their press junkets. Just because one, from like just a fun, way to like hang out and like relax and see what other people are doing with their lives. But also two, I study junkets because a lot of times you end up answering the same questions.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to come up with like a different, new, original answer for each one, which can be really tricky.
Yep.
But it's really interesting to see like what people do with that.
So what is one question that you fear being asked? Is
That
there
I
one you're
fear?
just like, okay, if they ask me this, I can tiptoe around it this way?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. Oh, any like relationship questions.
Okay.
Everybody always wants to know, which I get because I always want to know.
Mhm.
Like everybody wants to know who's with who. And like that always freaks me out because I'm like, oh my gosh, my private life.
Right.
Like, yeah.
But speaking of, you're in an interesting scenario here because not only are people inquiring about your life because you are quote unquote celebrity, famous, a part of Disney Channel. Your movie also comes out on Valentine's Day. So
It
you all
does.
made this real easy for us
I
hosts
know.
out there to like grill you guys essentially
Yeah.
on, who will you be watching this
Yeah.
with?
I'll be watching Zombies 2 with my boo. And my boos are literally like my castmates. We're all watching it together on
Dun,
February
dun, dun.
14th. No, we are going to be watching together.
All together?
'cause we all love each other so much. And I can't really imagine like kind of like entering this next chapter of my life any other way. I love having them by my side. So
That's fun. And you're 19 years old.
yes.
And the cast and crew around you, you guys are all about upper teens, right?
Yeah. We are right around that age, that
Okay.
range.
So you guys have, I guess, now seen yourselves on camera
Mm-hmm.
for years upon years.
Yes.
But can you recall back? Because you said you're all going to watch it together, so you must be comfortable watching yourself on camera to some degree.
To some degree,
Okay.
I think it gets easier over time. I used to absolutely hate it, but like for Lethal Weapon, we would live tweet every week. So
Okay.
in order to live tweet, you have to like watch what's going on.
Yep.
It gets easier, but I still don't like it.
What would you say you're most critical about yourself when watching?
Everything, everything.
The way I breathe, the way I walk, the way I talk, everything.
Yeah. Especially because like what you've done, so there's a better take. There's something else that they could have used.
Yeah.
You're just kind of playing all these thoughts through your brain and nitpicking everything. Yeah. Me being a perfectionist, it's always been something that I've kind of struggled with. It's a blessing and a curse, I
Of
guess.
course.
Like, you're always striving to be better, to improve, which is a great thing, but there's also a point where you should just kind of be proud of yourself for your accomplishments. And I'm really happy to say that Zombies 2 is something that I'm like actually proud of myself, because a lot of the work that I watch, I'm like, all right, like, that was fun, it was good, I learned a lot, great, check. But this is something that I can actually sit down and be like, you know what, I did that, and I'm proud of it. And I think this was kind of like something that I hesitated with when I got the audition. I was like, DCOM. I don't know if that's something that I want to do, just because there's so many DCOMs, and some are more mature and some are really cheesy, and I think all have their own like respective audiences. But with zombies, I'm like, man, these are singing, dancing zombies, and
no, 100%.
You know, cheerleaders with the pom-poms. I wasn't sure how it would work out. I did see the first one because I'm good friends with Meg, and I had been for years, and so I watched kind of just to support her, and I was like impressed,
it's
really,
super cute.
because it's super cute, it's super fun, but it's also real and raw, and the characters are relatable.
Yes,
which is something that you don't always find in family or like children,
right? No, of course.
Media.
Well, and the actors are all very talented, which of course
and
helps.
This is such like an incredible cast. Like I cannot stress that enough. And so everybody did a really good job of diving deep into their characters and really just finding the truth in all of it. Even though we are dancing, singing zombies and werewolves, and it's this like fantastical world that does not exist, but kids can still watch it and see themselves and be like, oh, that's something that I've experienced, or that's something that I've struggled with. So,
and the first one, if I recall correctly, it's been a minute since I watched the first zombies, but it's all about acceptance, right?
Yeah.
The zombies and humans have to the humans have to accommodate to the zombies in the first one.
Yeah, essentially.
Start to accept each other. And then this one, the werewolves are coming in to the picture, which we did not see in the first one.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about the werewolves is that they don't seem to care whether or not they fit in.
Right, which I think is so cool. It's such a cool element that they bring. They really are reckless, and I think the most dangerous thing is when you're dealing with someone that just doesn't care. And so that's the werewolves for you.
But do they really not care? Like, can anyone really not care? I mean, maybe werewolves.
I think Willa makes a good case for it, especially like just in regards to how she views Seabrook and like the societal,
which is the school, right? Is that
Seabrook
the school?
Seabrook, like the
town community,
yeah. And she sees the zombies as, you know, like a group of people that have conformed to these societal norms, and she's so against that, because the werewolves they represent individuality and standing strong in who you are. And so any little hint of maybe you need to compromise like your identity to fit in here, like she's not for, absolutely not.
Would you say, as you yourself, not your character, going into certain scenarios, and maybe it's even joining this cast, right? Because everyone had already been a part of the first one, that you do feel this need in your own self to fit in?
Oh yeah, 100%. Which is why I think it's such an important message for people to hear, because it's much easier said than done. Like, yeah, even joining the cast, I was like, well, I need to up my game. Like, I need to get on their level. Because
you knew Meg Donnelly ahead of time.
Yeah, I knew Meg, but no one else.
No one else. You had not really met or worked with anyone else.
I actually hadn't met anybody else from the cast. Usually, I like know people. I feel like when you're in the industry, you kind of have, you know, passing them like in events or on carpets or whatever. But I'd never come across any of them.
Interesting.
Except Meg. Meg and I had been friends. Yeah.
And she's great, such a doll,
lovely,
like the sweetest person.
Oh, the sweetest. I love her so much. Anyway.
What was your, because again, but like someone like Ariel, right? She's all over the internet.
Yes. Yeah.
You follow her. If you don't, you're gonna see her on literally Forbes list.
Yeah.
Or you can see her on any
if you
sort
don't
of
know who she is, you live under a rock. So.
Is there something? Of course, because when you look at those type of people, you do have maybe preconceived notions about what someone may be like.
Yeah.
So what was your, I guess, idea of how this cast was, and then actually what were they like once you started working with them?
That's a good question. I think the first cast, I was pretty open-minded going into it, because when Meg found out that I booked the role, she reached out immediately before I even hopped on the plane to Toronto, and she was like, hey, I'm so happy that you're a part of this. I love you so much. I can't wait for this to happen. Also, I want you to know that first movie, we were all so nervous, but we became this huge family, and you just support each other all the way through, and that's exactly what's going to happen with this movie.
Right.
Everything's going to be amazing. Everybody's wonderful. And I like already trusted her. So I was like, all right, well, if she thinks these people are amazing, then they must be. And as far as Ariel, that was like a whole different thing.
It's a whole other world,
it's a whole
right?
other world.
Like,
and this is a conversation that we've had so many times. I did not know what to expect, because I've definitely met my fair share of people in this industry, and you never know what you're gonna get.
You really don't.
Never know.
It's
especially with the social media world too, because there's this kind of I don't know what the word is. I guess maybe like expectation to fit this sort of image.
They have a persona in which they put out.
It's a bit of like a facade sometimes.
Of course.
And
she'd admit that too. She says that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And because it's a business, you know, and so that's its own world. And so I just didn't know what to expect. And I thought it was funny because on Instagram, she's this like, I mean, obviously she's gorgeous, but like, just kind of like super confident and like out there and like, I don't care. Like, this is me. You know, get with it, or there's the door. Yep. And then in person, she's like, hi guys, like, I'm Ariel.
Sweet.
Like,
yep. So would you say, I'm guessing like, she exceeded anything? No.
She was just very different than what I thought. Like, I say that I'm like mildly confident. I thought she was going to just be like, boom, 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 like here to kick butt and take names. And she's like, okay guys, so like, what are we thinking? Like if you know Ariel, you know, she's like just super like oozing sweetness and like, she's just she's a little angel. Like, I love her and I want to like protect her. And like, you know,
and you guys are similar ages, so you guys can like be lifelong friends.
Yeah,
you guys actually can have a pack in real life.
Yeah.
Would you say then, because I feel like, let's talk influencers and actresses, and we talk about this on the podcast a lot with guests, is that they tend to go hand in hand, because maybe you grew up, let's say, on Nickelodeon or whatever it may be, and then along with that came your social media following. And then there's the opposite, right? Where people build a social media following, and then sometimes along with that can come these acting roles, someone like Baby Ariel.
Right.
And I don't want to take from her talents at all, because the girl is very talented.
1000%.
But it seems kind of like she's been able to merge these worlds.
Yeah.
It seems like oftentimes each person has what the other wants.
1000%.
The roles end up going to the influencers a lot of time because of their following. And then, so how do you handle like that relationship? Because you are Gen Z, you're a part of that generation where it is important. We want to ignore social media at times, but like followers, all that kind of stuff matters. Yeah. So what's your relationship with it? You have a great following too.
Yeah, I struggle with that a bit, just because it's more of a new thing in the industry. I feel like a couple years ago, social media didn't really play as significant of a role as it does now.
Yeah. Well, it's like the marketing for the film, right?
Yeah,
it's extended marketing.
I mean, it totally. And but yeah, no, I've definitely come across auditions where it's like, don't submit anyone with less than 100K followers, which is crazy, because that has nothing to do with talent
at all.
And so, yeah, you see this very like weird thing where influencers, who a lot of them are talented.
Of course, yeah.
And then, you know, a lot of them kind of just grew their following from making videos in their room, which is also like its own thing and awesome and great. And they are entrepreneurs, and that's really hard work, way harder than a lot of people could ever imagine.
I mean, it's exhausting. I don't know how people do it, honestly.
Right. But it's not acting, or it's not.
Right. It's different because you get these big cameras, you get these big lights, and you get like
a whole different world.
Crew, and it's much more intimidating. We've had people come in here before, and it's like, it's different now. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, it's just interesting in your position how one handles that, because I'm sure you do feel this pressure to grow your following.
1000%, all the time. And yeah, my publicist is always like, post more, post more. I'm like, I'm actually out living my life, like not taking pictures, like trying to stay away from my phone. And so it's interesting. I think it's nice to have a blend of the two.
Of course. And yours like seems like a healthy blend at this point. It's not like you have to put too much into one or the other. They don't take from each other. They kind of complement each other. But yeah, no, it all seems exhausting, to be honest.
It's all exhausting.
Itself all day on set, and then
all exhausting.
Also be posting.
Everything is a business.
Of course.
So I respect influencers. I respect like my fellow actors. Like, it's all hard work, and we're all just out here like grinding and doing our best. So it's interesting to kind of navigate that.
Yeah, and I think the talent, no matter what, will always rise to the top, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years, and so it's been like a steady a steady, gradual grow. And so
as it normally is, there's a few
is.
people here and there that go
Kinda
viral and, you know, are
Right.
able to maintain it. But for the
Yeah.
most part, it's the 10 years that people don't see.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, overnight success. It's like, that was a long night. Because
Yeah.
it was like,
But like,
10
yeah, you
years.
touched on like sustainability. That's
Yeah,
another
that's
thing. Like
hard.
when you really do put in the work and the time and the effort, it's easier to sustain, like once you get to the other side, that level of like whatever fame or I don't know,
Well, it's
like
just
the
something,
workload and all of it. Like it's a whole thing. And then other times, like you see people that kind of just shoot to the top, and then they don't know what to do with themselves because it's almost culture shock. Like
No, for sure.
it's a whole. Yeah,
And you might think you want it, but then you're actually in it, and you're like, nope, not for me. You know,
so
exactly.
It's rough, but I think at the end of the day, we're all humans, and we're all just like trying to figure it out.
Exactly, literally, day by day.
Day by day.
Do you remember? Because you said 10 years, the first time that you said to yourself, "Oh, I want to be an actress."
For me, it wasn't necessarily like a clear decision. I was a dancer first, and I started dancing when I was 3. And I started in like the competitive world, like actually going to like dance competitions and like doing that whole thing.
Girl, I've seen Dance Moms. If you can make it through that.
Yeah, exactly. it was that.
Yeah.
And then I switched studios and moved away from that and started just really focusing and honing in on my craft. And I knew I wanted to be a professional dancer and join a company one day. And then this crazy thing happened where I got the opportunity to audition for a Gap commercial, like the clothing line Gap. And so I went in, I auditioned. This was through my dance studio, Debbie Allen Dance Academy.
Okay.
And I booked it. And it was this crazy 1-week shoot on the Sony lot, which, by the way, is not normal for, you know, a commercial.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
thing.
expected that. But
it was actually like a whole package. It was a couple commercials, an online spot. It was a thing. And then it went viral. And it was just like YouTube, what are they called? Parodies.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube parodies everywhere. Like everybody was talking about it. And it was so popular that we were invited to Mario Lopez's Extra.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To just like do a little guest spot on it. Talk to the Moose. That's the one. You can type in like Chandler Kinney Gap commercial. Like it comes up. And so, but I say that story just because if it had not been a crazy, weird experience and hadn't gone viral and like all these things come from it, then I would never had gotten an agent and then never would have started acting classes. And then
and we were talking before we hit record on this about you're a triple threat. You dance, we know of, you act, you know of, and you just skimmed over very quickly the part where you do sing as well. I'm not going to put you on the spot. You have to tune in to Zombies 2 on Disney channel to hear that. But it's interesting because I always think if I was gifted by God this voice, I would see, look, I'm using it as a host because all I can do is talk and it doesn't make your ears bleed. But if I were to sing, I don't have that skill. You're blessed with it, but you actually are someone who would do the opposite of me. You shy away from it a little bit.
1000%. Yeah, I am kind of a shy person in that regard, at least like with my singing. I don't sing for anybody, anywhere, ever. So the few people that have heard me sing before this movie just like heard me in the shower, I guess my mom and like me maybe like doing the dishes, my brothers heard me sing and they're like, oh, maybe she has something. But no, I refused. So.
Did you have to sing in this audition process?
Yes.
Though? Okay, that's a little intimidating now.
Yeah, it was intimidating. Funny story. So Pierce and I, who he plays Wyatt, we went in together for a chemistry read. This was like the last round for auditions, and I had already gone in with like so many other Wyatts. He had gone in with a ton of different Willas, and so we finally got paired up, and they asked us to sing. And so he's so sweet. He goes to the corner of the room and he turns around so as not to like make me nervous or whatever.
Oh, like the other away from you.
Yeah, like he turns away to like give me privacy. Okay, which is funny because like there's already 20 Disney executives like watching me do my thing. So I like, do a little whatever. And then we switch and he's really nervous because Paul, the director, after I sang, he was like, "Oh, top that, Pierce." And he was like, "Okay." Like,
he's like, "I'm just gonna turn around now."
Yeah. But I didn't turn around. I just like watched him, and I was like, "Wow, he's so good."
Right.
And so that's something that we laugh about, because I didn't get the memo that I was supposed to like give him his privacy.
I wouldn't have known that either.
No, he was great, and apparently I did all right too, because we got cast in the movie. So
okay,
yeah.
Do you think then, because you said like when you were 12, for instance, do you feel as though it was more intimidating then to be in the audition room, or do you feel as though at 19 it's actually more intimidating?
It's more intimidating now,
right?
Yeah, for sure, because I know what could happen. I know what it would mean if it didn't happen. There's just so much more going through my brain. Whereas if I was, when I was 12, it was just like, well, this is fun, and I get to pretend to be someone, and like
it's kind of
do
more
a little dance, and
it's a career.
Whatever they ask me to do, like it's just a little fun game of pretend.
It's kind of a hobby at 12, so it feels like extracurricular, if you will, because guess what? You don't have rent due that month, and mom's going to take you home and put dinner.
You don't have bills to pay.
Exactly.
You don't have, exactly.
Life still goes around the same way as it did before.
Right.
But now are you feeling this added pressure as, quote unquote, this adult? You're over 18 years old.
Yeah. I mean, if this doesn't work out, like, I'm low-key screwed. So, I mean, yeah, there's a bit of a pressure.
I laugh, but I only laugh because, like, I want to cry. I know the feeling.
True.
It's so true. We can
for
share
sure.
a sleeping bag somewhere. I don't know. Shoot.
If I need somewhere to stay, I'll hit you up. No, I think there is, like, that pressure, because with anything, making a commitment to something, you're saying, all right, like, this is my number one. I'm going to prioritize this. And, with that, there is risk and, a responsibility to do everything in your power to get that thing, to achieve your goals. And so, there's a lot of self-induced pressure, I would say. Yeah.
Do you feel, and you've been a part of Disney before, but of course with Disney kind of comes this level in which you are elevated to, right? Everyone kind of puts you on this pedestal. You guys don't notice she's on a pedestal, right? She's higher up than me. It just comes with Disney. And I love kids that I've met from Disney because they're polished. They really give well-informed answers. But with that being said, and you are 19, you're not a kid. Yeah. Do you feel that, I don't want to call it added pressure, but just this, I guess, pressure maybe you put on your own self to be this type of role model and fit this Disney mold that has been created in a way of, like, to not let Disney down, to not let those fans down in your personal life, in a sense?
I would say so. I grew up watching Disney, so all of those like OG Disney stars were my idols. Yeah. And I just wanted nothing more than to just be like them, be them. Yep. And so now,
because they're perfect. Literally,
perfect.
They're perfect.
Like, that's what you see. You see them on their shows and on social media, and there is like this level of expectation, and they always meet that. You know what you're going to get with them for the most part, I guess.
Well, it's like
I guess some people have deviated from that Disney image.
Of course, like once you,
also, like,
I don't want to say graduate, but
when you graduate, you can do whatever you want, and like more power to you.
You're just an example, I think. Your character is an example, so then you and your personal life are also a reflection of Disney, and thus you are an example.
Yeah,
but it is interesting at 19,
like, responsibility that definitely is there, and so knowing that I was once one of those kids that looked up to those stars and just idolized them. Trying to comprehend the idea that I am that now for other people, like for other children, like impressionable young children, is like really scary, because I'm like, wow, like
it's true.
I have like influence in some way.
You do. But at least you realize it. It's like you're paying it forward, right? You're at a point now where you're
always aware of. So
let's talk a little bit then. Are you, I'm curious, like a rule follower? You yourself? Are you someone that, because your character is a rule breaker. The werewolves are rule breakers, but you?
To an extent, I would say. I think there's always a little bit of room to bend the rules.
Because you got to learn, right?
Yeah. I mean.
Were there rules in the house growing up? Are there like strict rules that you had to abide by?
Yes. I did not break those. I was a goody two-shoes as a kid. I was also like the youngest and the only girl. So like, I was like the perfect like little baby of the family, and I left all the rule breaking to my brothers. So
smart. And
they would get in trouble, and I would get like extra dessert, and so it was fine. Like, I loved that part of my life.
No, I would too. Who wouldn't? Was there any like sort of rules in your house is like, look, you need to meet these household standards that we have as a family. And if you don't, acting is actually no longer on the table for you. Was there something that you had to keep up?
Yes. Grades, for sure. Yeah. Especially at a young age, my mom was like, this something that is so like unpredictable. Like, you cannot rely on anything in this industry.
No, it's out of your control.
It's out of your control, and it's no one's fault. It's just a business. And so I just remember that was like a thing. She was like, this cannot affect your grades and your education. And so that's something that I've always tried to like prioritize. And I was like a straight A student through middle school and high school. And so that's just something that like I would stay up if I had to, work through the night just to continue doing the things that I was doing. I remember my mom loves to tell this story. I did something, whatever I did. I was like probably 5, and I don't know, broke a rule of some sort. And she was like, if you do that again, you can't go to dance class. I'm taking you out of dance. And I lost it. I bawled. I was sobbing. I was so desperate to like continue dancing and like doing the things that I loved. She was beside herself, and she was like, what, actually, wait, hold up. I'm not going to take that away from you. Just don't do that again. But no, performing and like entertainment as a whole was always something that was so important to me.
I mean, when you think about it, maybe it was a good life lesson, especially in this industry, is that it can be taken away, right?
Yeah.
It's not always in your control. You do this, you do that. Like, guess what, girl? It can go away like that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going away for her, though, like we said.
Hopefully not.
And you have a reoccurring role. We've dived in a lot, about zombies and whatnot, but on Fox, which is totally on the other end of the spectrum when you think about, I guess, the series itself. Lethal Weapon. Would you say this is the one you're recognized for the most at this point?
Fox?
Yeah.
The Lethal
Your
Weapon?
role on, Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. I would say so.
Okay.
That was really fun. I remember like when we did the pilot, I had no idea how big of a deal it was because it's Lethal Weapon. Like I was not aware of the franchise or the following that it had because I was like a 15-year-old like teenage girl. Like it was
the audience a bit older than I'm sure your Disney audience is going to be.
Yeah, for sure. And so the transition from that to this was a big one, just because like primetime television is very natural and like quiet, and it's just how I'm talking to you now, where Disney is a little bit more elevated, and the stakes are higher, and so that was a fun transition. But Lethal was just like a wonderful time in my life for me it was the first series regular role that I had, and so portraying a character for that long really gave me the opportunity to, I don't know, try new things, experiment. Explore character arc and development in that way.
And it wasn't your typical dancing, singing, that we're going to see in this.
So
we've seen you in that type of role now. We're going to see you in zombies as well, too. What would you like to explore next? Any sort of characters that you would, maybe that you yourself wouldn't ever do in your actual life, let's say?
Yeah.
But
I think those are the most fun, which is why I love Willow, because she's so ferocious and fierce, and I'm like, if only I could walk through the halls like that. Like, the things I could do. Anyway, I think a character that I would love to play would be, I don't want to say a villain, like maybe a Marvel villain.
Hey, there you go.
Or a Marvel superhero, either way.
Let's hit up that franchise, girl. Yep.
That franchise is where I plan to be next. That would be fun.
I feel like that would kind of mold your worlds together a bit.
Yeah, it would,
you got the superhero aspect, kind of the fun Disney part of it all, and then also that, like, serious life or death role, that you'd be taking on
for sure.
as well.
So, but I'd be down for anything. And incorporating my different skills, I guess, like dancing and singing was so much fun. So getting to do that with martial arts would be really cool.
And you've done martial arts, so
I'm a black belt in
Taekwondo.
You're welcome.
So anyone looking for that character, right here.
I'm right here.
Love it. Okay. Quickly, just want to hit on fame because you have been a part of so many different reputable networks. When I come to think of it, you've got Disney, I've said Nickelodeon before, Amazon. She's hit them all. Like you've hit pretty much a lot of the boxes.
Made my rounds.
Yes. So my question with that is, what would you say on both ends of the spectrum? the upside of fame, and then also something you realized that was the downside of fame. Excuse me.
I guess an upside would be the influence that we were talking about. Just, I feel like everybody wants to make a difference in the world, and so having a platform, like, gives you the ability to do that, which is something that I do not take lightly. So the things that I get to say and promote and, you know, bring into this world automatically kind of have that group of people that will hear it, whereas like, I know some brilliant people that just don't have, like, a platform.
No, it's true.
And, you know, it's a weird thing. Fame is very weird. But I guess that's something that's really cool. And I love, you know, I get to talk about, I have an organization.
Right.
And so,
I didn't know that.
philanthropy is something that's really important to me. So that's something that I get to talk about, and more people get to learn about it, especially with this demographic. It's really cool because it's like they're young. And so just to introduce people to that, I guess, is cool.
And throw out really quickly where everyone can
Chandler's Friends and Chandler's _friends on Instagram, but we're doing a lot more fun projects with that later this year, but I will I guess you could stay updated there. As far as a downside goes to fame, I would just say your world becomes pretty isolated.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I get it. Like, but it's hard to swallow it. Like, it's hard to comprehend it. Because
you don't really know how it happens. But, like, one, you automatically become more protective and private. So
the walls start going up a bit, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's just, like, a, like, defense mechanism, I guess, or, like, a way to cope with, like, you know, because you do come across people that you don't really know their intentions or, like, why they're talking to you. So there's that. And
do you remember the first time you realized that? Like,
first time I realized that.
And I'm not asking you to call anyone out. Just like, or just
well,
like an instance, like
Susie.
That's Susie Q. Okay.
Susie Q. John Doe. I don't remember the first time, but I remember it became more of a reoccurring thing. Like in my teen years, which is like the worst time because there's already so much changing. So you don't know who to trust. You don't know who's in your corner.
You don't even know yourself.
You don't even know yourself.
Yet, right?
So that's a thing. But yeah, I guess
What do you use
it's not
as a
so
gauge?
Isolating. I feel like
no, but it can be. I hear you.
Yeah, it's like I have my tight knit group of people and like my community, and I love them, and I have my family, and I have people in the industry too that get it, and I have like you meet more people every day,
of course.
So it's not like, let me not say it's a bad thing because it's I don't know, it's a weird world, but it's amazing and wonderful, and I have like the best things to say about it. So
no, it looks like you're navigating it really well.
Yeah,
but with, I guess, kind of on that topic, you do keep your world smaller in a sense because of you want to protect yourself to a certain degree, but also because what people think of you, because you do have this influence, matters, right? So my question is, how do you deal with the way in which people think of you?
I don't think you can.
No trick.
Honestly, because I feel like that's a question that I've struggled with. I know a lot of my friends have struggled with. Yeah. Not even being in the industry. This goes for anybody, like struggling to figure out like what people think of you and having that be like a constant worry. And I think the best thing is just to kind of focus on you. And
do you read the comments or just kind of
like, I try not to.
Okay.
Sometimes if I'm feeling
I hear that answer a lot.
Type of way, and
for sure.
I'm just kind of whatever, like I'll read them and I'm like, all right, well, it's fine. I'm gonna go eat some ice cream and like whatever.
You can tell when you're scrolling like by the emojis, like maybe how it's gonna go.
Yeah, you're like, maybe scroll past that one.
Is that a red heart? Okay, I'll read.
Yeah. But I think for anybody, that's not even just like a fame thing. It's just like you can't worry what people think of you because you can't control that. Like 100%. I focus on controlling or just worrying about the things that are within my control. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's any better way to end it than that. I mean,
thank you.
We love you. Make sure, again, I want people to be following you with your journey and also make sure you catch zombies. That for sure.
Yeah.
On Friday, Valentine's Day,
Friday,
zombies too.
Valentine's Day, and then you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter and all the things at Chandler Kinney.
Perfect. Okay, well, you guys, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you all next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.